You watched the drama?
Not at all. I've heard about the court scene, about the jail sentences and all this sort of stuff.
You really haven't watched any of it?
I haven't watched any of it.
You're not curious to?
No, I think I'd be sick. It's taken over enough of my life. I find it quite obscene. I find it horrifying, misogynistic. Some of the death threats have been really terrible online. People phoning me up. You know, it's been absolutely horrendous. I wouldn't give credence to something like that, and it's not really my kind of drama.
What?
So first video here, we see a couple of things. Firstly, she's asked if she watches the video, and she's saying no. When you get the camera pans to her, you see she's got her eyes closed for a longer period of time. This is part of eye blocking behaviour as well. You also look for congruence with people's words. When she says, I wouldn't even watch that, it's not part of my drama, and she changes from the nod for giving yes. So the thing is, there's not congruence between her words and the non-verbals. I think that's an important part for us to look at. The other principle is truth tellers convey, liars convince. So when he asks a simple question, not watching it, no, I haven't watched it. She's got to put additional layering, additional fluff words as well. That's all part of her trying to convince to get us to believe the story that she's putting forward.
See breaking news. I saw Mr. Gadd had written a play for the Edinburgh Festival, and he was holding up placards, MP's wife stalker, and all of this, and he'd called it Baby Reindeer. That's all I knew. And I thought, well, I've only met this guy 2 or 3 times. I don't know him. And left it at that. I should have possibly jumped in at that stage.
So a couple of other elements here that are going to prove important, especially later on. When asked how many times, you see very clearly she says, I've only seen him 2 or 3 times. At the end, towards the interview, when Piers loops back and says how many times you've seen him, she goes, I've only seen him 5 to 6 times for things as well. So from that perspective, there's clearly some deceptive elements in there. The other thing we're looking for is when there's a spiked blink rate. So spiked blink rate can show elements of discomfort, can also be one of them leading through for deceptive indicators. We've got to think what's driving that. You'll see that occurs throughout this interview. When asked some elements, some questions that she's got some discomfort with, that she's not wanting to, or not in a position to be able to give honest answers, you'll see there's the delay, there's a different eye referencing point while she's trying and come up with the answer that's going to sound like it's going to be believable. And you see the flooded blink rate and changes to a blink rate as well. Or you'll see she'll close her eyes for longer periods of time. So the actual length that her blink is lasting is going to last for longer as well. So that's another indicator that you're going to see throughout a range of the different elements in here.
Before, but are you these days online?
I've come off Facebook as of yesterday.
Are you on X, what used to be Twitter?
No, I'm not.
Because you had an account.
Yeah, that's right. Years and years ago. I'm scared to Google up BBC Breaking News. I'm certainly scared to Google up the Daily Mail, in case I am on it in some bizarre circus.
That moment you realised it was you that they were depicting from what you were reading, the sleuths, as you say, had found your tweets, they compared some of the phraseology, they'd done the maths, and they worked out this was you that was being depicted. How did that make you feel?
Absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I couldn't believe he'd done that. And so long after first meeting, we're talking 10, 12 years ago, really horrendous. I didn't know who to trust. I was told by the Daily Mail.
So next part now, Piers asks if she's online, and rather than just saying no or giving any specifics there now, she'll turn and say, the response jumps into, I'm now off Facebook. He presses then about Twitter, and Twitter will end up being more important as during a longer part of this discussion as well. So you see, anytime when he's asking these questions, what you'll do is you'll jump to are you on here? Well, I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing this. She doesn't focus on the things that she is doing. That's another behaviour that people take when they're trying to not give some clear, honest, and transparent answers.
Looking behind the bar, Richard Gadd, and he offers you a cup of tea. Is that what happened?
No, that's not correct. He didn't offer me a cup of tea. Nobody gets anything free from the Holy Arms. I was in for a meal with a drink of lemonade, and I was very, very hungry. I'm diabetic, so very hungry. So that's.
And did you
true.
talk to him?
He interrupted a conversation. There was another barman there, and he said, "Oh, you're Scottish," and basically commandeered the conversation. I was talking to somebody. It's pretty rude to interrupt. So he seemed to be obsessed with me from that moment onwards.
I mean, just speaking to you, I've never met you before, but you do look and sound very similar to the actress in the drama.
I haven't seen the actress. We're both Scottish. We've both got dark hair. She's considerably younger than me. I think she's about 18 years younger than me.
So we've got a range of elements in this next video. First, once again, that continuing additional passing on of information when asked a question. There's some short, sharp answers there that could have been given, but as I said, truth tellers convey, liars convince. So she's going to continue and try and give us additional information in there. The other thing, when you said, did you speak to him as well? She says, oh no, he came through and he interrupted the conversation. I said to him, oh, you're Scottish. And then she continues on. What she's sharing there is the fact that she actually stepped forward and in her own words said that she said that he's Scottish, and then continued on as well. The other thing is, I think there's another sentence there where he says about, she says the words, I haven't seen the actress. Oh, she's X amount younger than me. We've both got dark hair. So during that point, even in that short, sharp element, clearly showing the fact that she's not telling the truth. Otherwise, how would she know that if she's never seen the actress, how would she know that she has dark hair?
You told Richard Gadd he looked like a baby reindeer toy you once had as a child, hence the name of the show.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I appear to have written most of the show in my sleep. I dressed
Did you have a baby reindeer
I
toy?
had a toy reindeer.
So that's true.
And he'd shaved his head. That bit is true. And there were reindeers in the shops. It was Christmas time or something. It was a joke. So I have inadvertently penned the name of the show.
Right. But that is true.
That's true. That's a true fact.
So a couple of things in this video now. You see where she's pressed about Baby Reindeer, and as soon as the name comes up, because you know there's going to be some truth element there, straight away you see that once again that accessing different eye referencing point, you see there's the delay with some cognitive load there. She's rushing back now to try and prepare words to try and come across as being honest, and that's why you're seeing that delay with her the mouth slightly open and some other items with there. As I mentioned before, people, when they're having deceptive behaviour, will try and throw in additional words and fluff. So when she got to the point, started saying about reindeer, saying it was a joke, she then started adding additional content about reindeer being in the shops for what time of year and just general banter. So Piers recenters really well on that and said no, so it's true, and she's just had to nod her head definitively and say, yes, it's true.
Richard Gadd looking through your window after he followed you home one day.
False.
You never saw him at your house?
I didn't see him at my house. I think it would be impossible to look through a window.
Did anyone else ever see him there? So as far as you were concerned, he never turned up at your place?
Correct.
But the Netflix show has him doing that?
Yes, I believe so. I've been told that.
But that categorically didn't happen?
That categorically didn't happen.
In the course of your relationship with
So in this portion of the video now, we're talking about whether Richard Gadd went to her house. So when he says, did you see him there? She says, no, I don't see any other indicators there. So I believe that she didn't. The two times I see a flash and some change is when he says, did anybody else see him there? And right at the end where he says, can you categorically say that hasn't happened? And she goes, no, it didn't happen. She once again closes her eyes. So we get that, that element of eye blocking behavior during that time. The fact that it happened at the same time at the end when he said about categorically not knowing it didn't happen, and also, did anybody else see him there? For my perception of this is I believe that yes, she has some information that somebody else saw Richard Gadd there at that time, but I don't believe that she physically saw him there.
of your relationship with Richard Gadd, you send him 41,000 emails, 350 voice messages, 744 tweets, 48 Facebook messages, and 106 letters.
That's simply not true. If somebody was sending somebody 41,000 emails or something, they'd be doing how many a day? Lots.
Well, it'd be obsessively
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What did you send him?
None of that's true. I don't think I sent him anything.
You never sent him anything?
No. I think there may have been a couple of emails exchanging, but that was it. Just jokey banter emails.
Netflix has...
So now we're getting into some of the nitty gritty. When Piers says about sending him 41,000 emails and the range of messages, she said, like, it's not true. I didn't send him anything. Then when pressed, she says, oh, I may have sent some emails. Then later on in the interview, you're going to hear even additional more content about the fact that she sent him a letter. So this is just further evidence of the deceptive behaviour. Like in there, you also find that when he asks a question and she quickly looks up again to another eye referencing point, that's where she's looking when she's going to pre-rehearsed content that she has to respond with. She then turns around straight away with a very short and well smooth rhythm answer saying about with 41,000 how long and the volume. So that's obviously the area that when she's been processing and rehearsing for this, that it will sound unrealistic. So she's going to stick to that angle throughout a whole range of different areas here 3 or 4 times, because from her perspective that's something that sounds illogical. So she'll try and use that to discredit some of the other elements and statements rather than specifically answering some of the questions that have been put to her.
Did you send him?
No, that's true. I don't think I sent him anything.
You never sent him anything?
No. I think there may have been a couple of emails exchanging, but that was it. Just jokey banter emails.
Netflix have said that these details are the real ones. That this is exactly
completely incorrect.
So you're denying sending anything to him?
There may have been a couple of emails.
Text messages?
No.
Facebook messages?
No.
Did you tweet him?
I may have done years and years ago.
You actually tweeted him numerous times.
No, it wasn't numerous. It was about 18 tweets there or 14.
It's quite a lot for someone who's not that well known.
But we were all friends. You know, it was banter.
Right, but it establishes you were contacted. That's in public.
So in this next portion, same thing again. We're seeing that change where some of the words, she's going to be changing from shaking to nodding, but there's key elements there. You see that there is not congruence with her words and with the actions, especially when she's saying no to something, but she's nodding her head yes. So we need to look more closely at that. The other thing, say about tweeting, that she says, that I may have tweeted when she's pressed about, did you send him things? Remember, we've gone from, I didn't send him anything. Now we know that there's been some emails. Later on, you'll see that she did send a letter. Now she's saying about, there may have been some tweets. And he said there was a number. She goes, well, no, not a number, just a few. And he says, there was 18. 18 isn't too many. So once again, when getting pressed on the specifics here, we're really starting to see even more holes in the communication that she's putting forward.
That's
and
right.
you wrote in one letter?
Yeah.
So why have they got all these details here which are supported?
Who is they? Netflix.
Who has sent all these things?
Correct. So, I'm sorry?
Who has sent all this stuff to him?
I've no idea. I think he's probably made it up himself.
I mean, you could prove, I guess, quite easily it wasn't you.
Correct.
Because it'd all be on your computer.
Yeah, correct. That's right.
Would you be happy for someone to look at that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What do you have?
So here, there's a great line of questioning when Piers leads down about the fact that there will be records of these things for emails, messages, for things as well. So you see the response there where she says about, I don't know that. And so you'd be happy for people to look at that. And she goes, yeah. And then there's that stagger, that verbal stutter. Yeah. And so while she's saying yes, I think it's very clearly evident there for that time. That's not something that you would want to agree to. So I strongly believe that there's going to be some strong records of the additional communication that she's had throughout this.
For someone to look at that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What do you have? What technology do you use?
Right, what technology do I use? A very, very old smartphone just now because the other one packed up a week before moving. That's it.
Because they're all sent from an iPhone.
Yes, so...
But they believe it wasn't actually an iPhone ever being used.
Meaning what
Meaning
kind
that
of
someone
phone?
was hiding the fact that they were actually not using it. They were pretending it was from an iPhone.
I don't really understand that.
Well, people...
So some really important parts we're going to get out of this next section. Firstly, that congruence. When you said about, are you happy for somebody to look at that? She's saying, yeah, but she shakes her head no. So she's not happy for somebody to look at her tech, which is aligned with what we'd said before. I think there's stronger information that will come out of there. The other thing you asked about the tech, and she says about like being an old-fashioned iPhone, an old-fashioned phone. I also believe that that's going to be like a legitimate response, because I think that's one of the reasons from a spell check point of view. While some of the various SMSs go through and why there were so many spelling mistakes, it's difficult nowadays to be communicating and not have your wording corrected from a spelling point of view. So I believe that she's legitimate with what she's saying for that. Later on in the interview, she says she has multiple phones as well. So I'd say there's a range of different phones. One might be her sanitized or work type phone. And then for some of these type of activities, I'd say that you find that she's got an old device. Hence some of the reasons why she's not using spell check in different areas as well.
Richard Gadd's girlfriend because you were jealous?
No, I don't think he had a girlfriend. I think he's homosexual. But no, I have never been to his house or attacked any girlfriend or anything like that.
There are lots of scenes where Martha is sitting outside his house all day for many days, sitting in a bus stop, sitting out there, walking around, and would occasionally shout at him. Did you ever do that?
No, I haven't seen the show, but I'm getting.
I have. So
I got all the court allegations, the trial allegations.
I'm going to come to that. But on that point, did you ever turn up at his house?
No, I don't know. I don't know where he lived. No, absolutely not.
So whoever's doing all this is.
So there's some other really important elements in this next one. Firstly, when she says about attacking, and rather than just clearly saying no, she jumps into, no, I don't think he had a girlfriend, I think he's homosexual, and a range of other elements in there, rather than answering clearly. The clearest, simplest answer is the most honest one. The other thing, when she's pressed about the situation, did you sit outside his house? Her response initially was, no, I haven't seen the show. So that's straight from it, then she'll try and deviate that. Then when she turns around and says, and he's more direct again, said, did you do that? And she goes, no, I don't even know where he lived. And as she's saying no, she's nodding her head yes. So based on that and the incongruence as well, I believe that there's some indicators that she did attend with his residence and be waiting outside at different times as well. I think the non-verbals reiterate that point.
Voice messages. The voice messages he's kept apparently, and there
He
is
was maybe taping me in the holy arms. I don't know if he's got any voicemail.
But if he has 350 voice messages and it's you,
it doesn't mean the drama is true.
but is it possible he's got 350 voice
I
messages?
doubt that very much. I just don't think so.
You doubt it?
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, unless
Wouldn't
he's
you be
taping me.
I mean, if you've never really contacted him, if he's
He
got
could have been taping me in the holy arms, though.
but if he's got 350
I've got contact.
but if these are on his phone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether they're on a phone, tablet, whatever they're on. I've not contacted
But I'm curious, why would there even be a possibility of him having that number of voice messages from you?
Because he's crazy. He wants to make this up. I mean, I've not phoned the guy. I don't have his number.
But you're not sure that he hasn't got those?
I think the only explanation for having a voicemail from me would be taping me in the holy arms. That's the only place.
Or that you've left messages on his phone?
That's the other explanation, which just didn't happen.
You can't be sure?
I can't be sure because I didn't have his number.
Right, you just said you weren't sure if these were your voice messages.
Yeah, what I mean is somebody could be taping me. You know, somebody could have taped me in the holy arms.
Right,
on a dictaphone or something
but if
like that.
Here's my point to you.
So here Piers is pressing about for the voice messages and content. And so you see with the response when he says about the voice messages, she says, well, maybe, he may be taping me. And then what happens, rather than staying to that very clear path, no, if that was the case, no, I haven't called him, so we won't have voice messages. Her response changes then, well, it doesn't mean that the rest of the drama, it isn't true. And so once again, softening the position and deviating there. She then goes into the words, I doubt that he has the messages, and then continues back to maybe he's been taping me being in there. So a couple of times when they said about this and said about I didn't have his number, you see there's that eye flutter as well, and that change to the blink rate. So this is another sign where I just think there's some strong indicators with her eye referencing points and blink rate where there's some discomfort around some of these answers.
It lie like that when somebody clearly needed some rest. And
how many times did you meet Richard Gere?
Don't know.
What would you guess?
5, 6, maybe 5, 6 times.
That's it.
Yeah.
In your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is very short and sharp, very, very clear. She was very clear and definitive before, trying to say it was only 2 to 3 times. Now looking straight down the barrel, saying only 5 to 6 times. So I think either way there, you can see even between the content in the earlier part of the video and now that she's not being truthful. There's a range of elements throughout this video, through this interview, where I think it's been navigated quite well by Piers. I think he's managed the nuance of the conversation and led the path quite well. But there's some very, very clear deceptive elements that she shared during this interview.